City of Denver, Colorado, a 6-degree chill factor, 35 degrees on the thermometer, and winds gusting to 40. It's cold here today, but if you want to think Super Bowl, you better start getting hot in December.
The Raiders are going to have to come through today. Schrader's going to have to come through today. No flawed performances the rest of the year, or the Raiders will suffer, and there's a lot of doubt.
Schrader was injured against Kansas City as the Chiefs beat the Raiders last week to take an edge in first place in the AFC West. Let's take a look at today, where Kansas City has improved its position. 8-4 now, the standings, as they have defeated New England. That's a final 37-7. And here's a look at the standings. Kansas City up by a half game, but does have the edge on the Raiders, even should the Raiders beat Denver today, in that they've won both meetings. Kansas City over Los Angeles. Denver will get the ball first. 3-8 for the Super Bowl champions of Dan Reeves. And the motivation today, home crowd, try to please them, but more so they just don't like that team in black and silver. Dan Reeves admitting he's never liked them, he hates them, and has kept no secret in that regard. Out come Blake Ezor from Michigan State, breaks away from a tackle or two and hustles out to the 27-yard line. And here come the Broncos and John Elway. Elway an off-season for him. And he has a patchwork line in front of him today. Darrell Hamilton and Dave Weidel, a whole new left side, with Perry defecting and Juriga injured. Karts at center, a good one. Weidel and Lanier. There's two Weidel brothers starting 5 front. Elway with Porter, an ex-Raider, and Bobby Humphrey, McTeal and Young, the wide receivers, and Clarence Gay, the tight end. Those men go out when they go 4 wide. Winder into the backfield. Vance Johnson and Mark Jackson, the usual starters, but both are injured and did not practice much all week, but can play today. Porter flanked way out to the left side in this set. Elway guns over the middle, wide open. It's Clarence Kay to the 49-yard line. The tight end has a first down.
They took advantage, Dick, of Ricky Ellison biting on a running play. Ed Robinson, number 57, is going to play outside the tight end position. There's the fake. You see Ellison, number 50, move way over, wide open. They had planned this. Elway spoke of it, and even Dan Reeves spoke of this as the one key they had for this game. The problem is they can't do that play after play. Only 1 or 2 of those a game. Beautifully executed.
12th catch of the year for Kay, who's had some problems hanging on to all of the balls thrown at him. First down at the 49. Bobby Humphrey, 3rd in the NFL in rushing, and he has about 4 on that carry against a tough team against the rush, the black and silver Raiders, and here they are. Howie Long, Bob Golick, Scott Davis, Greg Towns, a tough front 4. The backers, Robinson, Ellison, and Benson, veterans all. McDaniel and Washington at the corners, former Bronco Mike Harden and Eddie Anderson at safety. When they go to their nickel, the 2 linebackers go out, and 2 extra defensive back, rookie from North Carolina, Torrin Dorn, and Gary Lewis come in. There's veteran Bob Golick on the nose of Keith Karts, underrated, but one of the fine centers in the league for Denver. Second down and 6. Humphrey again finds room outside. Good move. And he's to the 34, a first down. Eddie Anderson with a tackle.
Lionel Washington was there to make the stop, number 48, and he had the tackle, but Humphrey showed why he's one of the leading rushers in the NFL. When he breaks outside, you see the trap by Weidel. Now Washington breaks outside, and he makes Washington miss. Washington, one of the better support men in the league.
12 yards on that carry. Humphrey, who started brilliantly this year, the Alabama All-America, and then in the last 6 games, since a sprained ankle, you see his production about half.
You know, that is indicative of the entire team, isn't it, Dick? His performance outweighs everyone else's.
Big hole on the draw up the middle, and Humphrey is to the 23-yard line, and it appears another first down.
They came into this game with a beautiful plan. They're executing everything perfectly. Elway takes and just hands off to a draw, and Golick moves way to the outside, and Karts simply turns him to that side. Ellison stepped the wrong way, a huge hole. The Raiders are going to have to adjust to what Denver's doing. A lot of these plays aren't the kind you're going to continue to use throughout the game.
This is having that extra time off after the Thanksgiving Day game to put some extra material in. Humphrey again in another good hole. Closes in a hurry at the 20-yard line. After a pickup of 3, veteran Jerry Robinson, 57 with a tackle. Humphrey with 31 yards already on this drive.
Dave Weidel, playing his first game, pulled and he trapped Ricky Ellison beautifully.
They're the top rushers starting today. Butts of San Diego, Thomas of Buffalo, and Humphrey of Denver, all AFC runners. And now Humphrey just a handful of yards away from the 900-yard mark.
The Raiders aren't used to seeing a trapping style of offense. Kansas City last week used no traps. And at this point, the trapping is bothering this team.
Another carry for Humphrey. Cuts back inside, and a flag goes down. Thrown by the umpire, and that usually means against the offense. And here's a little fracas. As these two teams, it doesn't matter how long you've been in the uniforms, if something brings the blood pressure up when the Raiders and the Broncos meet. Even Howie Long, who says, you know, I hate the 49ers, but I must admit that everyone is right when they say that these two teams just basically don't like each other.
They openly talk about the rivalry over so many years, especially here in Denver, because Denver has a home field advantage, but the Raiders tend to come up here and play great football. Last year, when the Raiders were down, they came up here and played very well.
Holding against Denver is the call. Reeves, by the way, is 9-9 against the Raiders in his career here in Denver, and he's 5-3 at home.
Well, both clubs seem to do well if they're having a bad season.
76 offense, 10-yard penalty, replay the second down.
If they're having a bad season, they'll still play well because of the rivalry.
Ken Lanier with a hold, and then that provoked some post-whistle activity.
There's a little action.
Benson.
Once they grab those face masks, now that's supposed to be an automatic penalty once anyone grabs it during the play or after.
So second and long for Denver. Another draw to Humphrey. Oh, he squirts through the hole and gets to the 23.
I think the Raiders didn't even see that play. They were so busy pass rushing that Humphrey just slipped right through them.
Mark Jackson, number 80, and Vance Johnson, 82. The regulars at wide receiver come in. Saw Kay go out along with Bobby Humphrey as the four wide receivers for Dan Reeves on 3rd and 9.
Now, this shouldn't be a great matchup. This should not be a great matchup for Denver because the Raiders do have excellent corners. Denver has two very young linemen on the left side. The Raiders have a great pass rush.
Oops, and there's Wydell making a mistake. Dave Wydell, he's 1 year older than brother Doug. Both played high school ball in Hartford. Both played with the Boston College Eagles.
This is where the heat's really on, Dick. These young linemen, Hamilton and Wydell on the left side, they've got Townsend and Davis to deal with. Scott Davis. Two excellent pass rushers who are very physical. So this is the mismatch when Denver has to throw. Dave Wydell and Darrell Hamilton having to pass protect.
Hamilton for Gerald Perry, who quit the team after a court proceeding this week when he was found not guilty. And Jim Juriga, the regular left guard, is injured. Elway needs yards just to get in field goal range. And can't get it to Sammy Winder out of the backfield as Jerry Robinson was in a shoving match, and Vance Johnson pleased with the official. No flag.
Robinson is in the middle in that nickel, and he's going to cover the running back, and he did an excellent job. He's going to use every bit of moxie he's developed all these years.
Would you have called a penalty on this play? No, this isn't Winder. This is on the other side of the field.
He's walling off. Now out comes Winder, and really it was a pick play, no question about it, and it almost worked. Robinson was smart enough just to grab hold as he went by.
David Treadwell's longest field goal this year, 46 yards. This 45 into a tricky win. It is good. Denver strikes first, 3-0. 9:44 remaining first quarter. The Raiders get it next. So the Broncos take the opening kickoff, get a 3-point field goal from Treadwell. 4 games after this one, we're in a long December in 1990, and as a coach that saw a team develop into a Super Bowl winner, this is the time.
You have to come through right now, Dick. You've got to play well and develop momentum for those playoffs and ultimately the Super Bowl. You can't be sputtering or having flawed performances, and that's been the problem with the Raiders thus far in the last 4 or 5 games.
Well, they've lost 3 of the last 4 after sprinting out to a 6-1 lead, winning 6 of their first 7. Treadwell's kickoff. He's not been getting good depth, and he tops this one right into the Napoleon McCallum's mitts, and he covers it at the 27-yard line.
McCallum handled that beautifully, Dick. He just fell on that ball. He didn't panic.
Looking at the scores, some finals in now in the early games, and Cincinnati sweeps the Steelers their 2 games. Philadelphia rallying from 24-0, but Buffalo does win today at home. Miami crushed by the Redskins. They're in overtime at Soldier Field. The Lions and Bears. Rams have beaten Cleveland. Tampa Bay a winner against Atlanta at home.
Well, maybe Cincinnati is for real. They're not playing consistently, but they had 2 big wins over Pittsburgh.
Jay Schrader's first throw is complete, and Lyman Henderson comes up to make the tackle after a short gain. Now the late games, other than this one, Houston at Seattle, the Kingdome no score. The Jets with a field goal early at Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego. Indianapolis, Phoenix, New Orleans, Dallas, no score. Jay Schrader, 0 for November. He did not throw a touchdown pass in the 4 games of November. The Raiders lost 3 of the 4.
Those 2 key fumbles last week really cost the Raiders the game.
Second down, same play. Willie Gault tackled immediately. Is that a... No, they ruled it dead. No fumble at the 36-yard line, just shy of a first down.
The Raiders felt coming into this game they could get those hitch passes to the outside in front of soft cornerbacks. In this particular case, you see Henderson back there. The ball's thrown real high, and Gault had a hard time either holding on to it or getting yards after the catch.
That was a quick whistle, indeed.
Normally, you'd want to spin out and get extra yards after the catch. The Raiders think they can do that, but of course, that's not going to be enough to win the ball game. They're just going to keep those corners guessing to the outside.
And Gault on a couple of catches has the Raiders within a yard of a first down on 3rd down. Here's a look at the starting offensive line. Wilkerson, Wisniewski, Mosbar, Montoya from the Bengals and right. In front of Schrader, Marcus Allen will share duties with Bo Jackson. Steve Smith's the blocking back. Golden Fernandez the wideouts. Ethan Horton the tight end. They've activated Mike Dial, have the Raiders, just before game time, and they go to 3 wide. Smith out, and Notre Dame Heisman winner Tim Brown comes in, and congratulations to Ty Detmer and Brigham Young University. Now they celebrated in the Rocky Mountains of Utah and in Provo.
Well, he deserved that. He really did. The great job he's done. I think that Miami game at BYU sealed it for him.
There's a Heisman winner at tailback, Marcus Allen. Will he get it on 3rd and 1? You bet. It's going to be close for the first down as he slashed off the left side. Michael Brooks and company putting the stopper on him. It is a first down. Defensively, what used to be the Orange Crush has been the Burnt Orange this year, allowing 25 points per game. Powers, Cragen, and Holmes, with Lucas Mecklenburg moving inside today. Michael Brooks and Simon Fletcher. Mark Munford is injured. That's why that moved. Robbins and Henderson. Robbins really is a safety playing at a corner. Smith and Atwater, perhaps a strength in the defense at safety.
Well, let's see what Mecklenburg can do inside. He's been frustrated on the outside. He thinks he can get into more plays now, get into more tackles, be more of a factor in the game, and they're going to need him inside because the Raiders run so well in there.
Little stunt defensively, and Smith on the audible doesn't get any yardage.
Mecklenburg was there. He thrives at that position.
No play, delay of game. There's Carl Mecklenburg. Played at Minnesota. His first 2 years at Little Augustana as a walk-on at Minnesota. He said, I always was cut from every high school team, hockey, basketball, football, and once appreciating what it's like to be a starter and a good player, and now in the NFL a great player. He's not going to let go very easily. He has his fist clenched around that starting and maybe another Pro Bowl.
He's the bell cow of this team because he's such a major factor against the run.
Marcus Allen, high knees and across the 35 to the 37.
It's tough on the Broncos, still trying to get a formula to win ball games, and defensively moving Fletcher over to Mecklenburg's side on the right, Mecklenburg inside, starting Tim Lucas as a linebacker. Now that's tough this stage of the year, and Mecklenburg not practicing at all as an inside linebacker.
We see Simon Fletcher, their leading Sacker with 10 on the sidelines, attending to his forearm or elbow. Ronnie Halliburton, number 93, rookie from LSU, has replaced him. Second down, about 10. Deep down the middle and wide open is Willie Gauld, a first down at the 41 of Denver.
Well, Schrader handled that one well. He had an unblocked guy coming right down his throat, and Holmes was right there unblocked, and Schrader just concentrated and threw a beautiful ball down the field. This is what Al Davis and Art Shell, all of the Raiders, are looking for, because there's been some doubt, especially off last week. Beautiful throw down the middle.
And Gauld having a banner year, his best in the NFL. That's his 36th catch. Ron
Holmes just coming through unblocked almost immediately. He beat Steve Wisniewski, which is a rare occurrence.
From the 41, Marcus caught in the backfield and dropped at the 44. A loss of 3. Warren Powers, number 91 from Maryland. And Ronnie Halliburton got a piece of the action. I'm
not sure that's the place to run against this Denver defense. That off tackle, off the left or right tackle play, allows Denver to pursue. Marcus is best right down the middle, playing off the nose guard and sprinting right up between people. But that angle to the outside, the Denver team has eaten up every time they've tried it.
Well, they put a very heavy bandage on that right elbow of Fletcher. We'll see if he returns. Already weak on the defensive side. They started with key injuries. Tyrone Braxton in the early season, their top cornerback, out for the year. Alfonso Carricker, their top defensive lineman, they felt, and rusher, he's out for the year. They've lost Steve Sewell for much of the year with a training accident, a weightlifting accident, dislocated his shoulder. Now Fletcher does come back in.
Well, they really need him because he's their only real pass rusher.
Well, they could have caught Denver with too many men on the field, but Schrader didn't call for the snap. 2nd and 13.
Well protected.
Beautifully protected and wide open. And another first down. It's Willie Gauld again. 4 catches for Gauld on this opening drive for the Raiders.
2 deep in patterns, which Gauld can get open on, but has had trouble catching in the past. You see a lot of clearance for Schrader to step into his throw. And Gauld breaking, pushing people back, Atwater in this case, then breaking into the middle. It's a beautiful job. See, his speed really helps him. Look at him bend out, cross over, and the ball's thrown right on the numbers. Now that's how they practice it, all the way back to training camp.
And you got to respect his world-class speed. He finished second to teammate Ron Brown for the NFL's fastest man earlier this summer.
That's trouble. They can't run there, Dick. I mean, they've done that 4 times now with 0 results.
Michael Brooks made the tackle of Marcus.
They just can't run that off-tackle play. The Denver pursuit is just too darn good. They've got to go right at him or throw the ball.
4 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Denver took the opening kickoff and settled for a 45-yard David Treadwell field goal. And now Bo Jackson and the Raiders. Bo is yet to get in on this opening drive. Marcus playing a tailback, have the ball at the 27 of Denver, 2nd and 11. Make it 12. Too much time. What a catch by Ethan Horton as he meat hooks it at the 17.
Well, we've been critical of Schrader. Everyone has, including people in the Raider organization, the team, the press. He's playing beautifully at this point. A lot of poise. I look for him to run on this play because he had absolute clearance. And look at that big hole to run through. But he does throw it over the top of a defender. And of course, it takes an excellent catch by Horton to make the stop. But very, very well done.
Horton's
releasing off the line of scrimmage. He's getting a lot of people holding him up. Everybody there. But finally, they let go of him. And Schrader had the poise to hold the ball till he was open.
On 3rd and 1, Allen has the first down inside the 15.
That time Allen broke back in behind the pursuing linebackers. Both Brooks and Mecklenburg started to the outside, and Allen, getting a feel for it now, broke back in behind him.
Well, the Denver defense has been a delight to opposing quarterbacks. If you take all the quarterbacks who have played against Denver this year, their combined rating is 90.3, which would rank 3rd in the AFC. And today, Schrader is 5 for 5 on the opening drive.
And that includes ball control kind of passing. So Denver's had a real problem getting the ball back from people.
First down, trailing 3-0. First possession. Marcus Allen gets a kind bounce. And look at this. He gets away from 3 men. And finally, the second wave of 3. Drop Allen at the 19-yard line. Brooks and Dennis Smith corral him. It'll be a loss of about 5 or 6.
Every instinct that Marcus Allen has, every bit of wisdom came through there. Typically, a ball carrier first wouldn't pick up this ball. He took his eye off it, but now watch the wheels turn. It's the mental process of getting as much as he can back from it. A lot of people would get rattled, but he just keeps his poise. That's happened to him twice today. That inherent instinctive knowledge that he has really pays off in those situations.
On second and long. Again, all day for Schrader, and he finds Horton inside the 5. Down at the 2 as Atwater saved the touchdown.
Well, I can see now why the Broncos were concerned going into this game with their pass rush. There isn't any pass rush. And now Schrader, it's almost like practice for him. Horton going up the field, and Mecklenburg really cuts him off well, but look all the time that Schrader has to throw an accurate ball. Wade Phillips, the coordinator, and speaking with him about next year, they have to draft, in his opinion, a pass-rushing defensive lineman. They just don't have that facility on the team, and it's really shown up in this game.
Officials with the discussion. The clock stopped with 43 seconds left in the quarter as the Raiders consuming a good chunk of time. 13th play of the drive. Over 9 minutes of possession time, and they're checking with the replay officials to see if the spot is accurate at the 2-yard line. It certainly seems to be about where Horton went down.
The officials on the field ruled that the runner went down on his own volition, got up, and advanced the ball legally. We're being reviewed by replay.
Oh, I see. They're saying that watch Horton. Does his knee go down when contact is made at the 7-yard line, or does he get to the 2? And the officials ruled that there was no defensive contact.
After review by the replay official, the call stands. First and goal.
Right. No touch by Mecklenburg. Horton is having a great series of games, and if he can gain momentum himself, it can really make a difference throwing inside. Last week, 4 catches for almost 100 yards. This game, he's doing beautifully, catching the ball in traffic, and his spin and run, his technique of running is beautiful.
Denver hasn't stopped the opponents very often down inside that 10-yard line, only 4 times out of 39. Perhaps they're taking a second look, the review officials. Let's, while we have a moment, then bring you up to date on the other late scores. Still no action on the scoreboard in Seattle. The Jets with their field goal lead at San Diego. 10-0 Indianapolis leads Phoenix, and don't count the Colts out, huh?
Those Colts are coming back. That win over the Bengals last week, playing in Cincinnati and coming up with a win in Cincinnati, thought that was a lock-on victory for them, only to get knocked off. Indianapolis, there's going to be somebody, Dick, that'll be in those playoffs that we'd written off weeks ago. Somebody's going to be there.
Now they're saying there was contact back out around the 7-yard line.
We've got a reversal by instant replay. He was ruled by replay down by contact on the 6-yard line.
Ladies and gentlemen, this may be a part of the great history of instant replay. We had a reversal of the officials on the field, and then the instant review officials actually overruled themselves, and now we have it at the 7-yard line.
Are they having an argument in the booth? 2 guys with their own.
They're punching right now. They're going at it right now.
Now they're trying to. It looks like a little confusion on the Raiders sideline. Looked like they were trying to call a timeout. Yeah, they did.
As it should be. 41 seconds left in the quarter.
IBM. Whatever your size, whatever your needs, IBM is working to bring you the best solutions.
Welcome back to Mile High Stadium. 76,000 tickets sold, and most of the fans are here. A quick report: Soldier Field, Chicago in overtime wins. 50-yard touchdown pass Harbaugh to Neil Anderson after Eddie Murray of Detroit missed a 35-yard field goal for a Lion win in overtime. First and goal, 6-yard line, 3-0 Denver.
Jay changed the play, or at least the pass pattern.
Offside, and flags fly.
Jay was running the option play, much as we saw Detroit do earlier. He was coming down that line to run the option.
Warren Powers, the man who jumped offside.
91 defense, encroachment. Reset the clock to 41 seconds.
Well, that encroachment, most of the Raider defensive linemen know how to spell encroachment.
Oh,
Howie Long and
Howie
Bob
Long
Golding.
at home. His wife knows now. She says, hut, hut, he's up off the couch. And encroachment now is in their youngsters' vocabulary for spelling. They can come in and win the spelling bee with that.
Even Bob Golick, kidding with the Denver writers during the week, said, just call me Bob Encroachment Golick, and you better know how to spell it right in the newspaper reports.
Well, how can the Raiders win as of last week? 3 fumbles, 9 penalties, and a lot of it was related to Steve DeBerg and his snap count. Now, Elway's very good at it, but Howie Long says he knows the Elway count. He's comfortable with it. He won't have any trouble. But of all quarterbacks, John Elway's been the guy that's been driving defensive linemen crazy with his irregular cadence.
41 seconds.
What's that? Gee,
They want to send the clock back.
if you're looking for continuity and momentum, I'd imagine the Raiders are going nuts. They can't even get the ball snapped.
Yeah, the instant replay officials may have gotten the call right, but wow, what a delay. 41 seconds left in the first period. First and goal now from the 3-yard line for the Raiders as they attempt to take the lead. Final seconds of the first period. Steve Smith for a touchdown. The big fullback from Penn State has his second of the year.
Well, that looked easy enough. In the goal line defense, they can move the ball. A great job of pulling by Wisniewski around to make a critical block, and Smith just followed him in the hole. Well, that was easy enough.
So now the try for point as Smith puts the capper on a 13-play drive that ate up 9 minutes and a tick. And Jeff Jaeger adds the extra point. 37 seconds remain in the first quarter here in Denver. The Raiders battling to get back into a first-place tie, lead at 7-3. Very impressive drive, and they give Smith 4 yards on his touchdown run. 73 yards in 13 plays, 9 minutes used by the Raiders. Jaeger with a good high kick into the end zone, and it's Kevin Clark to the 16, and that's all he gets. Douglas Patterson in on the tackle. We hope you'll join us next Sunday as you see Kansas City has beaten New England to keep the pressure on the Raiders. First place in the AFC West, and there are the standings to the moment. Seattle trying to go 6-6 if they can beat Houston. And there's our lineup. Begins at 12:30 Eastern time. Buffalo with a big win at home at Philadelphia, although they flirted with disaster after a big early lead. Seattle, Green Bay, Cleveland, Houston, New England, Pittsburgh. The late game, Denver and Kansas City. That was a terrific contest last year and was a great match earlier this year on a Monday night as Kansas City looked as if they were
Denver
going to win.
seems to have Kansas City's number with those come from behind wins they get on them.
Elway to the flat and incomplete as that ball in the wind sailed away from tight end Clarence Cave.
But Elway, a year ago, remember that game when he pulled his team back against Kansas City in the last quarter. He had a terrible day, and as did the Broncos, but Kansas City didn't score enough, and Elway brought him back with that shovel pass and beat him. So I'm sure next week the Chiefs know that ominous feeling with Elway in the fourth quarter.
Well, he hasn't been a second-half quarterback this year.
No, he sure hasn't.
Denver team has not been. 7-3, 24 seconds left for this period. And it's Humphrey Dancing through a good hole and out to the 25. An 8-yard pickup.
Number 50, Ricky Ellison, overran the play. It was basically his play, and he overran it to the outside, and Humphrey just broke back behind it. Ellison has a tendency to overrun things. He's so anxious. Now you'll see him work too far to the outside, and the ball break right back up in behind him. Now that is going to be a problem all day if that continues to happen. Number 50, well outside, way outside the ball, and he allows Doug Wydell to trap him beyond the hole.
And that's the end of the first quarter. 7-3 Los Angeles.